Hey folks, Moosetro here. I think the time has come. I think it is time for us to go to Vulcanus. And I seem to be afraid to take that leap because I know that as you head off to the planet, you're sort of trapped on the planet until you get things up and running to take a rocket back. We're going to go to the USS Moosetro. And we are able to bring our guns with us. Oh, this is so exciting. There we go. Okay. We can we can travel to another planet. Aw, did I forget how to do that? What's the story? There we go. It's like trains, I forgot. You have to put in the planet where you're heading to, and we're going to well, we're not going to do it automatically. I have to figure out how I want to set these up right now, but I think we can just hit go and we're off. Now we got to find out whether or not my ship works. Oh, I never did check into how to create a circuit condition to make the thrusters the most efficient. But we're at about half of the fuel. We're almost there. We haven't dipped into the bullets that we have stored up so far. Oh, wait a minute. Where are we going? No, back to Vulcanus. There we go. It didn't stop at Vulcanus. Whoops. Okay. Let's pause the thrust, and there we are. Look at that. Lava monolith. Monolith? Is that the right word? And I think what we can do is we can drop to the planet. Let's drop to the planet. Drop to Vulcanus. Here we go. Oh, we're in the rocket. Okay. Right away, we can take a look around. Don't have much, but what we need to do is we need to drop some items to the planet. So let's take a look at our ship and see what we want to drop first. We of course want to get the cargo landing pod. Get that. And we'll get some power. Turn off our logistics. Now, I made a blueprint for a new grid that is largely substation focused. I'm gonna make a copy of this because I want to create a copy that doesn't have the tiles. And I think that's... I think that's a good starting spot. I mean, as good as any. What else do we want to drop? We're gonna put this down so that we can start collecting things there. I don't know if that's exactly where I want it, but it's a start. Okay. We also want to drop down, let's drop the roboports, solar panels. Okay, that's going to get us some solar power up and running. I thought I sent the robots as well. Apparently not. There we go. We can start deploying said grid. Now we're going to need to get some electricity up in here, and I think I will figure out how I want that off camera just momentarily. Okay, that's 25 to 21 ratio, so we got 50 solar panels and 42 accumulators. That's providing us some power. Next up, we'll want to expand the grid just a bit, so let's drop some things down. One of the things that this world has that I'm aware of, well, first off, there's some calcite, so I could hand mine some calcite. Now I have that research done. Is this world has danger zones, and these danger zones are outlined in red. We can see on the map now. It shows up there, and as long as you're inside an area that's not red, you're not at risk of getting attacked. And so what we can do is we can move around real quick and we can establish what our perimeter is, and then we will build our electrical grid within that perimeter. And once we have our electrical grid within that perimeter, then we can start to manufacture the things that we want to do before we start facing the big bad worms. So real quick, run the perimeter. Whoa, I entered into the perimeter. I think it's as long as you don't build inside the red zone, your stuff won't get attacked. But if you do build in the red zone, that's when you get attacked. So these are the sulfur vents, and we're going to use the sulfur vents to power or help power a lot of our buildings on Vulcanus. We had some more stuff dropped off, so with the chest we'll be able to start collecting valuable resources. Let's turn this area into a storage place for said resources. I forget. Let's see. I think I've got a walkway built into this. Yeah, let's keep this walkway clear. There. The robots are doing their work. Excellent. Next thing I think is I can have you dump, because I don't know if the logistic bots go and grab things. I don't think they do. So we need to drop our inserters. We'll drop our pipes. That should get us some more things. We can put our roboports in those and those. That way we're expanding our base. And we will start dumping those. Personal logistics we can start to turn on. Oh, we're running out of power. Ooh-wee. Let's copy this. Probably because of all of the roboports. Okay, I think I'll make this open spot where I start building power. And the way the power works is we're going to take sulfur, and then I think we convert the sulfur. I got to think about this. Okay, so we're going to need to run a calcite belt up to where we're going to create our power, because the power, we use a chem plant, and the chem plant will take the calcite and the sulfur and do this process called, I think, acid neutralization, if I remember right. We do, yeah, acid neutralization. Okay. So we need to get calcite up to you, and then we can make steam power. Did I really forget to pack some miners? No miners. Whoops. We're gonna have to make our own miners. All right, so let's drop those, and we should be able to get some iron plates out of that. Okay, we've got one miner that's working, well, being made. We can go over here and put it on the plot, and then we should have calcite start to flow. There we go. Our first smidgen of calcite coming up the line. Excellent. Now that calcite's going to get fed into this plant up here. Actually, do I want to... Maybe I want to have this plant down here. I think so. You're doing that. You're gonna input. There we go. Let's actually... Is that where I want it? I mean, we can always move it later. We need pipes to feed you. Okay. And we need... those. Okay, we have sulfur flowing, and we can tap that sulfur with a line here, which means we now are making steam, and with steam we can feed our steam engines, which I'm not holding on to. And I think because I don't have enough power, my robots are... Well, maybe my robots have nothing to do. Let's see. Is there room for... I think we can put these... Not quite. How many is that? 28 of them. Oh, and I'm missing power in the middle. Let's that was 3 batches of 4. That's 12. Get this figured out sooner or later. There we go. Let's cut these ones at the end just so that should be enough. How many is that? 33. I think I only brought 30 with me. Alright, we have the power now. Alright, what's the next on the agenda? What's next to do? Now I don't understand. This is a purple chest, which means the robot should automatically be draining these. Why are they not draining them? I don't know why the robots aren't draining them. Is this in network? Do we not have any robots? I know we've got robots. Where did all my logistics bots go? No? Where'd they all go? Why'd the robots stop working? There they are. They're hiding in this chest. I didn't stick them in... Okay. I didn't stick them inside the network, so they can't do their logistics job. Now they're in the logistics... And yes, we got that working. Okay, so the next thing I want to do is clear out all of the resources that are kind of in my zone and start turning them into usable resources, like the iron and the copper. And then we also have this, is it tungsten? Yeah, tungsten ore that we can turn into tungsten carbides. I think that's what it is, tungsten carbide. Yeah, tungsten carbide. So let's set up a little operation for that. All right, we've got 3 of them working on the things that are needed. I think actually to make tungsten carbide, you're going to need carbon as well. Ooh, and wait, how do we... I guess we can't do that yet. We need sulfuric acid to do that. All right, the other thing I have is a lack of these guys feeding this network to keep this alive. So let's up that just a bit. There we go. We've got sulfur flowing in. We are starting to make tungsten carbide. Woo! And I think with the tungsten carbide, we unlock the ability to maybe start making orange science. Yeah, we have to make a bar. And what does that entail? Now we're making stone. Stone we can then be used to make concrete. And we need the concrete for some reason. I know. I think because we have storage for the rest of this stuff, we can go ahead and drop this all down. I'm going to keep the solar panel there in case I decide to increase the size of my ship. So all that's going to come in. I'll go ahead and make life a little bit easier to empty that. Should be able to make another miner. What do we need to do now? We have the ability to make a foundry. In order to make the foundry, we need to first be able to get lubricant and refined concrete. And refined concrete's going to need access to water, which means we need to make water. All right, we are now making water. We can put the water on our little fluid bus of sorts. There we go. Right now I'm just getting the things up and running. From there, I will then figure out what I want to do as far as placement for kind of a mini bus and whatnot. I actually don't want all this stone being placed, so I'm going to turn that off from the bots next. Okay, so we're making the concrete, which goes up to the refined concrete. We're making the iron sticks, which goes over to the refined concrete. And we are making the steel, which goes over there. The only thing that we're not making right now, because we've run out of iron ore, is iron plates, which we need. So we go to our map and we say, hey robots, why don't you go gather some resources? We've got this blueprint. We can grab all of them. Like that. That's going to give us lots until we're able to start mining it ourselves. Oh, there's a worm. Oh. One of the things that I'm excited about is the fact that from this planet I'm going to be able to develop the science to make cliff explosives, which you can clearly see is important in this area. There's lots of cliffs, and there's some cliffs back at Nauvis that I need to deal with. There we go. The robots are doing their robot thing. Now that we're making all the things necessary, I think I can make a little machine that's going to make foundries for us. Make a foundry. Oh, you need lubricant. So I have to figure out how to get lubricant onto our line next. Okay, to get lubricant, we have to have heavy oil, and we can take heavy oil by doing simple coal liquefaction. So we're going to create coal, because we've got a coal patch here, and coal, calcite, and sulfuric acid will be combined to make heavy oil, and then that heavy oil can then be turned into lubricant, and we can add lubricant to the little mini bus. Okay, we have sulfuric acid coming in, we have calcite being dropped off, and then on this line we are going to be mining our coal. Right there is good enough. And we can probably make a couple more miners. There we go. We have lubricant, and with the lubricant we now have the ability to make the foundry. So let's add that lubricant to the bus. Okay, lubricant is on the bus, and we can send that lubricant down to the foundry maker. Hooray! Oh, you're lacking green chips. We need to have something making green chips. So let's make something making green chips. You are responsible for making green chips. And in order to make green chips, we need copper coils. So we are also going to have something making copper coils. All right, we're getting the copper coils. We're getting the green chips. And the green chips are first getting delivered to me, of course. Let's drop some green chips in there. And we have foundries being made as soon as we have enough green chips. The bots are still doing their due diligence at collecting all the resources from faraway locations. Are those all dead? No, those are just unpicked up resources. I'm curious if I lose any bots when they fly over the lava. That's what I'm afraid might happen. But we'll see. Now, when I consider how I want to expand, I'm thinking up here above the coal patch, I'm going to run something east-west, because south, this seems particularly filled with cliffs, but this seems like a pretty smooth stretch. I do have a coal patch there, but let's put some radars down and see what we can get for views. We'll drop a radar right there. 1, 2, 3. I think. What did I do? We'll just copy that. We got the big mining drill researched. Woo! We can start making big miners. What do they require to make? They require electric mining drill, molten iron. Okay, so before I burn out my electric engines and red circuits, I should make a rocket launching area. Okay, we've emptied the ship, and we can send the ship back to Nauvis to start grabbing things that we might want from Nauvis. So let's go ahead and do away with that. Well, I think we can do that. I didn't check to see if there's enough fuel, but it looks like there should be enough to get us to Nauvis. You'll get to Nauvis and you'll wait until a passenger's present, which is good because there won't be a passenger present. What we need to do is queue up, figure out what we're going to ship from Nauvis back to Vulcanus. Look at it go, just plowing through those asteroids. Oh, that makes me happy. Okay, it is stopped at Nauvis. Back there at the planet. Whoa! Okay, we need to figure out how to set up a ship that goes back and forth. And this might be our first one that goes back and forth. And to make sure we don't run out of iron, I'm going to start casting some iron plates using my first foundry. And what we need to do is we need to get a pump. This offshore pump has the ability to take molten lava and put it into the foundry. Then we're also going to need calcite to feed this guy. Calcite. So you'll get this, and then you'll produce rocks, which we can dump. And we can also put you in a chest, which will be a provider chest, in case we need more rocks. Okay, we need one more foundry. We'll come back over there in just a moment. Alright, I'm clearly influenced by the way Nilaus plays, but I've set up requests very similar to the way that he did, if not identical. I'm still kind of learning how the logistics between planets works. And we now have molten metal plates, which should make things a little bit faster. We'll just dump those into a chest like this for now. And that should help us really ramp up our production. We no longer need this furnace cooking that. So let's change this request to iron plates so that we're making steel a little bit faster. Take that out. And there we go. We're making steel faster. Put that in there. We've got more foundries being made. Excellent. Now I need a similar foundry for copper. So once we get 2 more foundries spitting out copper plates, then we should be good for having an inflow of copper. And then we can really start thinking about the design of the base. And I think I'll save that copper for the next episode where we start to get into planning the Vulcanus base. And I'm really happy with this. This makes me happy that we're moving forward. I was kind of scared to jump to Vulcanus, but we did it. So hooray for us, or me, or whatever. Viewers, if you're still out there, thanks for following along. Throw a comment down in the comment section. Give me some inspiration to keep on chugging for your entertainment. I mean, I know I'm doing it for my own entertainment. And thanks for watching. This is Moosetro signing out. Have a good evening.